please. All right. It is getting to be that time, ladies and gentlemen, for episode 4. This is episode 4 of the NOVATECH Deep Dive. Because when you're going to get into a deep dive into the company NOVATECH, you can't do it in one episode. You can't do it in one 5-minute segment, not one 10-minute segment. So this is episode 4. You know, we did episode 1 where we covered AWS mining. We covered everything that happened pre-NOVATECH and the first appearance of Cynthia and Eddie Pettion. We covered the news that was released about AWS mining. We covered the rug pull of AWS mining. We covered the fact that AWS mining fled to Dubai but was never able to come back. Then in episode 2 of the NOVATECH Deep Dive, we talked about the very beginnings of NOVATECH. So how they transitioned from AWS mining into creating their own company, NOVATECH, and we brought you the sauce about the N trading bot. The N trading bot, right? Which was something that they scrapped. It was an early idea, but when they first came out, they had this quote-unquote trading bot, but they scrapped the idea and they went to say that they had live traders after that. We brought you that sauce on episode 2. Episode 3, we talked about the beer bug. I can't say it on YouTube, but you know, the pandemic, right? The pandemic that happened back in 2020. We talked about that. We talked about the beer bug. We talked about a story, Lisa's story of a woman who got the bug, and a story of NOVATECH, how it came to explode into popularity. And now here on episode 4, we're going to talk about the in-between time from 2019 to 2022 September. Now, we're not going to get in. You all know what happened in September of 2022. Just silly stuff. Man, it is great to have you here. Where you been? Don DeMarco, Don DeMarco. For you, Just Silly Stuff, welcome back. I don't know where you've been, but I'm glad to have you back. Shout out to you. Just Silly Stuff is back in the house. Have you talked about the people who committed, we'll say, self-deletion as a result of NOVATECH? BOJ commented on it a bit during an interview with Lambo. Your thoughts? Sorry for the typo. No worries, man. Great to have you back. Shout out to you. Just Silly Stuff is back in the building. And guys, we have got some real support today in the chat. We have got some real support. We have been chopping it up in the chat. We've been laughing. We've been having a great time today in the chat. So just so happy and grateful for that. I'm grateful to each and every one of you. And I'm grateful to God for giving me the platform where we can all get together. Ha ha, that's dope. You remember me. Thanks. I remember you. Of course I remember you. I remember all of my loyal subscribers. Okay. And you are one. Now, I haven't mentioned it. Okay. Because we haven't gotten to that part yet. Right. We haven't gotten to the part where things started to go south. But it did start at September of 22. So we're covering today from 2019 to September of 2022 and that 3-year in-between period when NOVATECH was cooking. And I want to give you guys a little bit of sauce on what happened during that period and how people got rich during that period, how people were raking in large sums of money during that period, and the amounts of money they were making. So hit the brakes and tune in to me because I'm going to give you a little bit of sauce right now. So let's say somebody came in and they came in with $10,000 at the beginning of NOVATECH, and they compounded it at an average of 3% weekly for 3 years, right? Remember, NOVATECH paid out for 3 years. It compounded for 3 years. Accounts grew for 3 years. So let's say someone came in at the beginning of 2019 with 10 grand and they compounded, and then they got out as soon as the first cease and desist order hit in September of 2022. Guys, do you realize that person would have turned 10,000, into 1.2 $1.006 million. All right. So if somebody would have put in 10,000 at NOVATECH at the very beginning in 2019 and compounded it the whole time, they would have had around $1.006 million to withdraw at the end of that 3-year period. So when people wonder why so many people were excited about NOVATECH, when people wonder why so many people joined NOVATECH, where people wonder why so many people like NOVATECH was their number one and it was their only thing and it was like their whole life. NOVATECH was their whole life. And they weren't diversifying. They weren't getting involved in anything else. When people wonder why, that's why. That's why. Because potentially you could have turned 10,000 into $1 million. And do you think that didn't happen for some people? You would be wrong. Guys, I'm here to let you know that some people did become millionaires and multimillionaires with the company NOVATECH. That's why I strongly disagree when people come out and call it a scam and a Ponzi. I strongly disagree. Right? Now, I'm not sitting here and saying that it's okay that people lost money. I'm not saying that. I'm trying to give the truth. And the truth is there were people who made a lot of money with NOVATECH. Now, that would have been very risky to throw in 10,000 and keep compounding it that whole time. But there were people who did that, and there were people who got out before NOVATECH collapsed. So, yeah, preview, a collapse is coming. We're not going to cover the collapse in this episode. We're going to cover the collapse in episode 5. This is the in-between period. And this is the period where people were really making a lot of money. I was making money. People in my upline were making money. People who had signed up under me were making money. A lot of us were making withdrawals, right? That the lady that I told you about, Lisa. Now, her name's not really Lisa. I didn't want to give her real name, but she had COVID-19. She lost everything. I'm sorry. She had the beer bug. Don't cancel me, YouTube. She lost everything. She had the beer bug. Her health was gone. Her job was gone. Her career was gone. Everything was gone. And because of NOVATECH, she became a millionaire. Straight up, flat out. She went from almost dying in the hospital to becoming a millionaire. She had a huge team, brought in a ton of people. Why did she become a millionaire? Because she made withdrawals every single week. She didn't compound. Maybe she compounded a little bit, but the majority of what she did was she took withdrawals. Now, let's say that somebody had come in with that same $10,000, and instead of compounding, they just withdrew their profit every week. It'd be about $300 a week. In that 3-year period, they would have turned that $10,000 into $46,800. They would have turned $10,000 into $46,800, even if they were withdrawing every single week. And they definitely would have got it because they would have been withdrawing weekly. That's almost 5 timesing their money. A good trade is a 1-to-1. Let me show you. So here's a good trade. 1 reward and 1 risk. A good trade. You're risking 1 to make 1. Let me show you a great trade. Here's a great trade. You're risking 1 to make 3. So you risk 1 and you 3x and you make 3. That's a great trade. Now, let me show you a phenomenal trade. I think you guys know where this is going. you risk 1 and you make 5. And in that scenario, that person would have risked 10,000 at the beginning of 2019 and did a 1 to 5 trade on that particular crypto investment. So they risk 1, they made 5. They risked 10,000, they made almost $50,000. Hit the like button because nobody else is giving you that kind of sauce. Nobody else is breaking it down for you from a Forex trader's perspective, from a binary options trader's perspective. Nobody else is giving you the same kind of sauce that I'm giving you here at the Unlimited Freedom Network. Hit that like button, smash that like button, because you're not getting this type of a deep dive anywhere else, right? Where I go over the actual numbers, where I go over actual risk to reward ratio, where I show you real trading ratios along with what I'm talking about on the platform side. Nobody else does that. So hit that like button. All right, so check it out, guys. Even if you would have been withdrawing every week, you would have 5x'd your money if you did it that way. So in the between time, and this is how, if you wonder why people are still attached to NOVATECH right now, you're wondering why people still want news on NOVATECH right now. You wonder why people are still talking about NOVATECH to this day, still following NOVATECH to this day. That's why. There's never been another crypto platform that did those kind of returns. There's never been another crypto platform that made those types of millionaires. There's never been another crypto platform that literally people were making enough to take care of their house, their kids, their family, their vacation, all passively from the NOVATECH platform because of the compensation plan, because of the trading plan, because of the PAM account profits, the percentage allocation management module profits. You mix all those things together, and you had probably the most explosive crypto platform that we've ever seen in the space so far. That was NOVATECH, and that's what happened during the in-between season, right? And that's what we've covered here on this 4th episode of the Deep Dive into NOVATECH. We'll see you guys on the next one.